hold phone discussion. And Somali leaders struck a deal to wrap up parliamentary elections by February 25. Greetings everyone and a very warm welcome to Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Shifarao Lako. Do stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and President Joe Biden have held a phone conversation on current issues in Ethiopia, bilateral relations and regional matters. The two sides agree there is great value in strengthening cooperation through constructive engagement founded on mutual respect. In another development, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has said that the recent decisions of mercy made by the government are based on the value of national unity. The Prime Minister made the remark while recognizing and rewarding members of the national forces for their bravery and heroic deeds in the war against terrorists. Johannes Fantaun has the following report.
For the past 1 year, Ethiopia has been at war in a way that it did not expect. Although this war was started by groups claiming to represent the Tigray region of northern Ethiopia, the fact is contrary to it. Through the efforts and sacrifice of its strong children, Ethiopia has inflicted heavy losses on the terrorist group and pushed it back where it came from. Since military action is not the end of a war, the Ethiopian government is making various decisions that it believes will benefit the unity of the country and the peace of its people. One of the decisions made by the Ethiopian government was to stay in the occupied territories and prevent further incursions. This was after withdrawing the terrorist group from Afar and Amhara regions. This decision made recently is said to be a decision in the political and diplomatic sphere in addition to the victory of the military. The government is currently working on a plan for national reconciliation. It's worth mentioning that on the day of Christmas in Ethiopia, the government made a decision that angered many and surprised some. The release of former TPLF leaders linked to a war has been announced. The Prime Minister had this to say because of the decision.
ይህ ውሳኔ የተወሰነው ኢትዮጵያን በጠንካራ አለት ላይ ለማኖር ነው።
This decision was made to build Ethiopia on solid rock, to reduce her enemies and to gather strength, and also if there is a community that doesn't understand and follow, it is to open its eyes and turn it away. There are several other reasons.
ምክንያቶች አሉት።
The Prime Minister further said that although this decision is outrageous today, it will be a source of proudness to coming generation and a reason for strengthening the unity of Ethiopia in the future.
ምህረት መስጠት ከማሸነፍ ጋር የሚያያዝ ነው።
Forgiveness is associated with victory. Forgiveness is not just a matter of losing, it is a matter of winning. The Creator has given us victory because He knows that we will forgive when we win. He knows that if vice versa with our enemies, they will have no choice but to destroy Ethiopia.
ኢትዮጵያን ማፍረስ ብቻ ሳይሆን የምህረት ልብ እንደሌላቸውም ስለሚያውቅ ነው። ጀግኖች፣ አሸናፊዎች፣ ምህረት ሰጪዎች ስላደረገን ፈጣሪያችንን እናመሰግናለን።
Psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Though forgiveness can help repair a damaged relationship, it doesn't obligate you to reconcile with the person who harmed you or release them from legal accountability.
called Gonda Town. I've never even heard of that town before I got here. And she was like, okay, let's check out this town. The only problem was that this town was 12 hours away from Addis by road. And it landed in Gonda Town. He told us about a place called Simeon's Mountains, and boy, this place is another thing on its own.
The name of this place is called Buitras. We are very close to the highest lodge in Africa.
Hey guys, just got to the restaurant now. Oh, he's writing VIP. Yeah. So guys, he's writing VIP on this mix. VIP. Yes. Guys, this is raw meat. Raw meat. Found a town called Gonda Town. I've never even heard of that town before I got here. And she was like, okay, let's check out this town. The only problem was that this town was 12 hours away from Addis by road. And it landed in Gonda Town. He told us about a place called Simeon's Mountains, and boy, this place is another thing on its own.
The name of this place is called Buitras. We are very close to the highest lodge in Africa.
Hey guys, just got to the restaurant now. Oh, he's writing VIP. Yeah. So guys, he's writing VIP on this mix. VIP. Yes. Guys, this is raw meat. Raw meat.
Let's now turn our attention to trending stories over the past 24 hours, and I'm joined as usual by my colleague Binyam Alamayu to help us bring up to speed. Binyam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we covered in our news story, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and President Joe Biden have held a phone conversation. What have you made out of their discussion?
Okay, thank you, Shafi. Like you said and indicated in your news, there was a candid discussion as described by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on current issues unfolding in Ethiopia as well as some regional issues. Yeah. And he also said that there was a mutual understanding on the issues ongoing in Ethiopia. On the other hand, the White House also made a statement concerning the discussions held, and it said that it opened a window of opportunity to expand for dialogue and peace, also peace and reconciliation. It also indicated that there may be opportunity for a negotiated ceasefire between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF in northern Ethiopia. It also said that President Biden commended the release of prisoners and the humanitarian access in Ethiopia, as well as all of the people affected by the 13 or 14-month long war in Ethiopia. So those kinds of issues were raised. And this caught the attention of many because Ethiopia is still in the spotlight. And some, such as the EADC or the Ethiopian Diaspora, the Ethio-American Diaspora Council, lauded the initiative, saying that instead of sending envoys or messages and this and that, the president has for the first time opted to engage in a direct dialogue with the Ethiopian government, and that opens the way for a better or brighter future, and that this is a much better approach. On the other hand, some like Hermela Argawi said that being anti-imperialism is not necessarily being anti-West. So you engage with the West as far as it takes you, but there is a red line that the Westerners or the Western powers should not cross. And as far as this is, it goes that way, then there's necessarily nothing wrong with engaging in dialogue with the West, so as to help Ethiopia achieve a much better future and solve the problems still looming large in northern parts of the country. So that's what I assessed about the situation.
All right. Let's also talk about Gondar city and Tumkat festivity. As you know, the historic city of Gondar is ramping up its preparations to host this Tumkat celebration. So what are some of the observations that you made in this regard?
Okay, thank you again. So Tumkat, or the Ethiopian Christian Epiphany, is one of the colorful annual festivities going on in northern Ethiopia. And it is to be celebrated in that historic town come mid next week, or Wednesday to be exact. So thousands of the religious faithful, tourists, as well as thousands of diaspora are expected to be there, celebrate with the faithful, and also pay visit to the city. This one is a little different from what happened up north in Lalibela, because there was destruction and looting. That was one of the dangerous routes chosen by the TPLF for its expansion towards Addis Ababa. But luckily, as we can say, Gondar remained untouched. So this is more of reviving the tourism industry, which was hard hit both by the coronavirus pandemic and the war against the TPLF. So they'll be there visiting places, also helping, muster up ideas with officials about how to help the tourism industry cope up with the challenges of the time and help it develop. So those are the things that I gathered.
All right. Thank you, Dina.
Okay, thanks.
He told us about a place called Simeon's Mountains, and boy, this place is another thing on its own.
The name of this place is called Buitras. We are very close to the highest lodge in Africa.
Hey guys, just got to the restaurant now. Oh, he's writing VIP. Yeah. So guys, he's writing VIP on this mix. VIP. Yes. Guys, this is raw meat. Raw meat. Found a town called Gondar Town. I've never even heard of that town before I got here. And she was like, okay, let's check out this town. The only problem was that this town was 12 hours away from Addis by road. And this landed in Gondar Town. He told us about a place called Simeon's Mountains, and boy, this place is another thing on its own.
The name of this place is called Buitras. We are very close to the highest lodge in Africa.
Hey guys, just got to the restaurant now.
Welcome back, and apologies for the technical glitches we encountered earlier. Now moving on, the diaspora have been called on to ramp up their role for the quality and efficiency of the education system in Ethiopia. Ethiopian Diaspora Agency prepared a discussion focused on conflict and reconstruction with the presence of high government officials and the diaspora. The Minister of Education, Professor Branu Naga, has reminded that there is a quality problem in the Ethiopian education system at this time. The minister has said that he is working to solve the problem to create a generation that is rich in science and technology. Now, in business, this Ethiopian fiscal year export performance has been evaluated in its 100 days performance plan. Directions were tabled regarding performance-wise, taking into account the country's current situation. Tigist Sarnesa has the following account.
A number of ministries' 100 days performance in Ethiopia have been evaluated in a meeting in Guba that Prime Minister Dr. Abiy was in attendance. It was announced that specifically export business and investment sector had been performed in parallel with the 100 days plan.
ከኢኮኖሚ አኳያ ለምሳሌ ኤክስፖርትን የወጪ ንግድ ገቢን ስንመለከት
Regarding economy, for instance, if you look at the export business and flow of investment, the performance is ended in parallel with 100 days plan.
Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration also announced that it was able to increase the revenue from last year's export business.
አጠቃላይ ወጪ ንግዳችንን በመመለከት
If we take this year's export business in general, it was very different in quality and quantity from last year's, which is far better.
Ministry of Mine made it known that it was able to use local raw materials, which enables to generate more revenue in export items, taking into account the current situation of the country.
የሀገራዊ ምርታችንን በማሳደግ ዙሪያ ከውጭ የምናስገባቸው ሸቀጦች አሉ
Related to the commencement and boosting of the local production of coal, steel and others were tabled for evaluation. And another thing is that we export precious stones like gold and others, and we export all salt family products too, and this was also evaluated. Especially with the current situation of our country, we were able to perform even better.
During the evaluation, it was announced that the directions were implied in how to safeguard success in these sectors for the coming months. It was learned that the evaluation did ensure, in spite of having to go through complex situation, that the country's economy didn't witness recession.
And now let's take a look at currency exchange rates, and we'll be right back. Now, in our continental news, Somali leaders announced on Sunday that they had struck a deal to wrap up parliamentary elections by February 25. The agreement was reached after several days of talks hosted by Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein, while state leaders to try to defuse a bitter political crisis. The ongoing election of the House of People will be completed between the periods of January 15 and February 25, 2022, said a statement issued after the talks in the capital, Mogadishu. West African leaders on Sunday backed tough new sanctions on Mali, including border closure and a trade embargo, saying the military regime's delays to a return to civilian rule were totally unacceptable. The leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, also agreed to cut financial aid and freeze Mali's assets at the Central Bank of West African States, according to a final declaration. And the bloc will recall its member states' ambassadors to Mali, the leaders decided at an extraordinary closed-door gathering in Ghana. The meeting followed months of increasing tensions over the timetable for restoring civilian rule in Mali after 2 coups and a military takeover. Nigeria becomes the first African country to launch its own digital currency in 2021 called the e-Naira. The digital currency is the central bank of Nigeria's answer to the growing adoption of cryptocurrency in the country and is expected to revolutionize payment systems in the continent. Shogai Mata has more on that from CGTN Africa.
In February this year, the Central Bank of Nigeria clamped down on the use of cryptocurrency in the country, instructing commercial banks to stop facilitating all transactions involving cryptos. It also asks banks to close every account linked to users and operators of cryptocurrencies. But fast forward to October, the Apex Bank launched its own digital currency, calling it the e-Naira.
The CBN believes that e-Naira will make a significant positive difference to Nigeria and Nigerians, including A. Supporting a resilient payment system ecosystem, B. Encouraging rapid financial inclusion, C. Reducing the cost of processing cash, D. Enabling direct and transparent welfare interventions to our citizens, E. Increasing revenue and tax collection, F. Facilitating diaspora remittances into Nigeria, G. Reducing the cost of financial transactions and improving the efficiency of payments in Nigeria.
President Muhammad Buhari, who was present at the launch, was upbeat about the e-Naira. He said it could help grow the country's GDP by $29 billion over the next 10 years. As of last week, the Central Bank of Nigeria has recorded over 600,000 downloads in over 160 countries. It also recorded over 34,000 transactions on the e-Naira platform, amounting to over $400,000.
A digital currency product has extremely wide possibilities. There's so many things that can be done. But what we've done initially is to constrain it, begin the journey gradually. I think that it is a good result so far. As we see the performance of players and stakeholders within that e-Naira market, what we do, we open it up more and more.
Financial experts have hailed the initiative as a positive one, but one that much work still needs to be done to attract mass adoption.
Only recently, the central bank said it was not going to take any liability for any loss of funds or any fraudulent act or things that happens on the e-Naira platform. That has further eroded the confidence and trust of many stakeholders on that platform. So generally it will take time for that trust level to get to a point that people will begin to utilize the platform for purposes of transactions.
While the e-Naira app is currently only available to users who have bank accounts, the CBN says sooner than later, Nigeria's over 60 million unbanked population will have access to the e-Naira, and many say that will be the real game changer of the initiative.